First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak Wadash. Double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I have here a page from this website called BibleOdyssey.org. And, I came across it. This is dealing with weddings and marriage traditions in ancient Israel. And is a fairly short read. Okay, but as I was reading it, I was like, wow, it's interesting how these things that are in here, these are things that we've been saying. However, when we bring out this information, people try to get on us and say all manner of things against us as though we are these evil, wicked individuals and we are vile and vulgar and so on and so forth. But I'm reading this article and I'm like, wow, this individual who wrote this is pretty much just letting it be known, look, this is how it was. And that's what we teach. We tell you this is how it was when it comes to dealing with the relationship between men and women in the ancient world, the relationship between husband and wife. Now, in this article, they don't mention or go into the situation with when a man would grab, forcefully take, or in other words, by definition, rape, all right, a woman to get to get a wife, right? He doesn't cover that aspect in here, all right. But nevertheless, he covers many other points as to how things were in ancient Israel. Okay, but being that a lot of Jake have been raised in the Western modern society, there's certain things that are hard for them to receive, and they deny it. Okay, they pretty much deny their heritage and their customs and their ancient ways because of the societal norms today. But as the scriptures are, we have to tell it as it is. You see, and people try to take it out of context because what we are doing is educating you on the way things were, the way what the scriptures say. We're teaching it according, rightly dividing the word of truth. Now, are we saying that living in this society, this is what you have to do, or this is what you should do? That's not what we're saying. What we are saying is according to our laws, statutes, and commandments and customs, this is what was permissible. Meaning that if such and such happened, the consequences that would be dealt in this society would not be dealt in that society. That's all we're saying. Okay, but this is what happens when people get emotional. They don't deal with logic. Okay, and you have this big blob of emotions and just confusion. But before reading this article, I want to start off here in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 16. It says, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Okay, because in this society today, they have drifted far, far, far away from the old paths. So coming back to our nationality, coming back to the knowledge of us being the Israelites and us, waking up to who we are and our heritage, you have to seek the old paths. And that's why the Lord had these writings written and preserved for us. Okay, as a matter of fact, let's get a quick precept on that. Here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, right around the, let's see. Yep, 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 22. And it says here, this is the prophet Ezra speaking, but if I have found grace, and he was making his request known to the Lord. So he says, but if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I shall write all that hath been in the world since the beginning. And that is what? The old paths, which are written in thy law. Because what was going on at this time? Ezra, okay, in his day and age, or in his time, this was post Babylonian exile. So this was after the Babylonian, the Neo-Babylonian Empire had destroyed Jerusalem with the help of the Edomites and burnt our temple. And in our temple was what? Our laws, our scrolls, our holy things. So they took out the vessels, the gold, and then they burnt the rest. They burnt the temple, destroyed it. So along with the temple went our writings. And so here Ezra is beseeching the Lord to give him the Holy Spirit so that he can write or recall all of those things that we had that were burnt. Because when you go up in verse 21, it says, "For thy law is burnt. Therefore no man knoweth the things that are done of thee, or the work that shall begin." See? So in the law you had the history that the Lord did, because at this time of Ezra, the book of Genesis has been passed, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Judges, Joshua, First Samuel, Second Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings. Okay, all these have already taken place, and in that consisted of a whole lot of information, laws, statutes, commandments, customs, history. And so Ezra is beseeching the Lord to allow him to get all of that back. It shows you how the Spirit works. And let's see why he's saying that. He says, verse 22, "But if I have found grace before thee, send the Holy Spirit into me, and I shall write all that hath been done in the world since the beginning, which were written out, all that have been done concerning us." Okay, which were written in thy law, that men may find thy path. Right? So in Jeremiah 6, what does it say? Stand ye in the ways and see and ask for what? The old paths. So let's keep going. It says, that men may find thy path, and that they which will live in the latter days may live. So now that we are waking up and we are remembering who we are, how is that? Well, it starts with the book. And then the Lord gives us the understanding to decipher the book, as he gave to our elders and their elders. See? So back in Jeremiah 6 and 16, "Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths," not the new paths, not the Western way, not the Americanized way, but the way of the scriptures. It says, "Where the good way," or "where is the good way?" So the old paths are the good way, "and walk therein." So you're supposed to apply these scriptures where they fit. And I say that because when you go into Paul mentioned, "All things are lawful for me, but not all things are expedient." And a lot of Israelites don't understand what that means. Meaning, just because something is lawful or that it was done, and you may have knowledge of that, doesn't mean that you have to do it today, because certain things we cannot do today. This isn't our society for us to implement our laws on a mandatory scale. So we keep the ones we can to the best of our ability. All right. So all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. You can't do it just because according to the law it says that we should. You would be bringing damnation upon yourself, because you wouldn't be using wisdom. So it says that and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And that's Jake. And that's why they're going to be destroyed. Okay? So the next precept is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 7. It says, "Remember the days of old." So you see, it keeps telling us to go back. To go back. To go back. Because we strayed away from the path. So we need to go back to the path. And this is our compass. The book is our GPS. It's our compass. It's our map. It says, "Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee." And, when you read the scriptures, you'll see, and you look at what's going on in the world today, it's the same people, but you can see how they've drifted so far off from our heritage, from how we are actually, or how we've been commanded to live. And so you can understand why the Most High is going to bring that reset through the destruction. So it says, Weddings and Marriage Traditions in Ancient Israel by Tracy M. Lemos. Marriage in ancient Israel was very different from marriage today. Although there is a great deal we do not know about Israelite marriage, the biblical texts that speak about it tell us that many Israelite marriage customs were unlike those of modern Western society or societies. So he's already letting you know off the bat what you're about to hear is very different from what you see today. Okay, what you read about in the Bible is very different than what you see today. But then you may turn around and say, wait, hold on, I thought this place was a God-fearing country. I thought they swear on the Bible. So why is it so different now? Because the devil is in power. First, although girls were expected, it says first, although girls were expected to be virgins when they got married, and according to Deuteronomy 22 and 21, could even be put to death if they were found not to be. Men were allowed to marry multiple women. Okay, so meaning that a woman couldn't marry multiple men. So if she had to be a virgin, right? If she was a virgin, that means she was untouched. But on the flip side, a man could have dealt with a woman and might currently still be dealing with her, but then he could also get another woman. That is a multiple women, right? Multiple wives. Hey, I'm reading it from here. So he ain't making it up. Now let's go to the precept that he mentioned, Deuteronomy 22. Deuteronomy 22. See, that's the thing. Some of these scholars, or some of these Edomite scholars, they'll tell you as it is, as it's written in there. Okay? Because they know, well, at the end of the day, even if I don't like it, well, this is how it was. But Jake, Lord have mercy. You mentioned one that they already got the pitchforks, the fires, the rope. They're ready to tie you and behead you and, defame you and all of these things. And you're like, man, I'm just reading what was written in the book. The same book you claim to read and love and, hypocrites. Deuteronomy 22 and 21, it says, then, let's see. All right, let's start actually, let's just hit the point. Deuteronomy 22 and 20. But if this thing be true, all right, let me actually go up a bit just to get some context. Nope, let's go up higher. Okay, Deuteronomy 22 and 15. You know what? 22 and 16. It says, and the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I have found not thy daughter a maid. Let's look up the word maid. I have found not thy daughter a maid. Well, now what does he mean by that? So the word here we have is bathwalayim. Okay, which virginity. Now this word here in the English could be translated to virgin. Okay, which the word there would be bathwala. Okay, but here it says bathwalayim. And sometimes it says it translates to virginity here. Okay, but virgin would be bathwala. So this is a woman that has never had sex before, meaning that there's the word. All right, so it says masculine plural of the same. Let's see, ba. This is a ba. This is a tha. This is a wa. This is a la. And this is a ha. But these are joined, and these are joined. So you have bath wa la. Okay, and it says here virgin. So you have virgin, and then you have virginity, which that would be bathwalayim, as it says there, bathwalayim. So virginity. It says virginity by implication and concreteness, the tokens of it made virginity. So let's read and let's make sense of what we're reading. So it says here, and lo, he hath given. So the father says, I gave my daughter to this man to wife. And I know I gave him. She was a virgin, as far as the father's knowledge. So, and that's why the scriptures say you gotta keep your daughter in. So she don't do no nothing. So that way you thinking she's a virgin and she's not, and you trying to marry her off to somebody, and he's expecting a virgin, but then So verse 17 it says, and lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, meaning that he's going to be able to say, well, she's undisciplined. Her parents didn't set her right because she's not a virgin. That means that she was out here, doing things, and she's pretty much committing adultery because she did things with a man that she didn't marry, and she's gonna marry another man because the man that pops you, that takes your virginity, that is your husband. That's the man you have to marry. So if she went and got popped, but then she comes and gets betrothed to another man to marry him, that is committing adultery against the man that popped her. Okay? So that's why he's saying that he have given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, meaning she wasn't a virgin. And yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. So now let's take a look at the word tokens. Because hey, show you in Israel, man, there was a way to do everything. There was proof. I hope it seems like they don't have the Hebrew for tokens. Interesting. Let's see, because you have here Bath, which is daughter, but they don't have tokens. Okay, let's see what this one is. H428. Okay, it says used before antecedent. Okay. All right, but we know what a token is. A token is like a sign, right, or proof, So the father says this guy is trying to say that my daughter wasn't a virgin, but this is the proof because you pop a virgin, there's a reason she bleeds when you break the hymen. So the wedding chamber, right, when the husband goes in onto his wife, right, on to consummate the marriage, that bed, the sheet that they lay on, she would bleed, and so that sheet would be proof that the daughter was a virgin because when he popped her, she bled. Okay, so that's the token. That's why the father says, well, he's saying that she wasn't a virgin, but I got the proof. Right? When you spread the cloth, it says, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city to show that there was blood on it. So when he popped her, this is it. Verse 18, and the elders of that city shall take that man and chastise him. So let's see what the word chastise is. It says yasar. It says to chastise, discipline, admonish. Okay, to chastise, to correct. It says, literally with blows or figuratively with words. All right, to punish, to reprove. So they might beat him. They might do something to him, but they're gonna chastise him. They're gonna correct him that you don't do that. Okay. Verse 19, and maybe they might beat him. Who knows? So verse 19 says, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them unto the father of the damsel. So now let's look up the word immerse. And this is what you got to do when you're reading. And this is why you got to get into the law to understand. Because the way we lived and the things that happened to us, we lived according to the law. So if you don't understand the law, certain things that happened throughout our history, you won't get. So immerse is a fine, right? To be subject to this fine. So it says here that they're going to chastise him, and then they're going to immerse him. They're going to fine him 100 shekels of silver. It says, and give them unto the father of the damsel, because he hath brought up an evil name upon a virgin of Israel. To try and basically make it seem as though she was not a virgin. She was out here undisciplined. It says, and she shall be his wife. So he may not put her away all his days. So you can't. You got, even if you don't like her, because see, now he doesn't like her, so he wants to, because that's what it says. It says here, I gave my daughter unto this man, and he hated her. So he doesn't like her. Let's see. Yeah. So he doesn't like her. So he wants to find a way to disannul it and not have to deal with her. But then that's why you got the proof, which is the sheep. So now he's stuck with her. Whether you like her or not, you stuck with her, and that's your wife. And it doesn't mean, oh, she's my wife, so I'm gonna do whatever I want. No, that's your wife. Now you gotta treat her according to the ways that a husband must treat his wife, because there are ways that you have to treat your wife. Certain things you have to do, the husbandly duties. Okay, and you gotta take care of her because she's your wife. Um, so it says here, verse verse continuing in verse 19, that what? He may not put her away all his days. That's your wife, man. Verse 20. But if this thing be true, and the tokens of the virginity be not found for the damsel. So if they can't find the sheep, and they can't validate that she was a virgin, see? The proof, where's the proof? In the pudding? Well, if it ain't on the sheet, then verse 21. Then shall they bring out the dead. That's why it says, but if this thing be true. So if the husband is correct, and the woman was not a virgin, right? Bathwala, then shall they bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house. So they're gonna grab her up, and they're gonna take her to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones that she die. Can you imagine that? They're gonna stone her at the door of her father's house. Shit, because it is the father's job to make sure that his daughter is a virgin, okay, lest he would have to deal with something like this. But if he wasn't able to do that, then now he gotta see his daughter get put to death, get stoned to death. She's screaming and begging and pleading and getting hit in the head with, hey. So it says, because she hath wrought folly in Israel, to play the whore in her father's house. Because where would she be before she's given to the man that she's going to marry? She's going to be in her father's house. So while she was there, if by the time she's given to the husband to be married, she's not a virgin, that means she was whoring around while she was in her father's house. She was doing things. And then she didn't marry the man that she was doing things with. See, that was like the story with Joseph and Mary. They were doing things, but then Joseph, being a just man, the Lord told him, look, don't put her away. You gotta marry her. You gotta take her. Okay? Because now if you say no, I don't want your daughter no more, yada yada yada, and then they say, okay, well, all right, so if we don't actually consummate this marriage in their minds, and we'll find somebody else for her. If they find somebody else for her, and then the dude is like, oh, she ain't a virgin, what's gonna happen to her? She's gonna get stoned. It says, so shalt thou put away evil from among you. Okay, so let's go back to this. I think it was okay, it was 21. So there it is. So we read it, right? That's what's gonna happen if the woman wasn't a virgin. It says, it is hard to know how common polygamy, which entailed a husband being married to more than one woman, really was in ancient Israel. Bro, when you think about it, polygamy, you were allowed to have more than one woman. But just because you were allowed to have more than one woman does not mean that every man just went and grabbed him multiple women. Because, first off, let me tell you something. All right, women are expensive. Women are expensive. That's the title right there. Women are expensive. I'm gonna do. Oh shit! I got her. You would, if a man could afford more than one woman, then that's a different story. Okay, but if you couldn't, he would deal with his one woman. All right, because you had to take care of both of them. As many women as you had to take care of them. So that's why often in cases where men that were more well off, they could afford more women, then they'd be able to get them more women. All right. It says also the evidence suggests that compared to women, men had more control over whom they married. For example, Samson chooses his own wife, Judges 14. I'm not going to go and pull that up, but there's the reference, right? So it says, even though his parents disapproved of the match, most likely girls were married around puberty. Whoa, excuse me? What's that? But wait, we bring this out and oh, Tahar's a rapist. Oh, Gabar is this. Oh, this guy is this. But wait, the apostles were. Hold on. Are you gonna say that Tracy M. Lemos is a rapist? Is a pedophile? Is what? Let's look up the age where a girl reaches puberty. All right, what age does a girl reach puberty? Whoa, excuse me. Puberty generally starts earlier for girls, sometimes between 8 and 13 years of age. For most girls, the first evidence of puberty is breast development, but it can be growth of pubic hair. All right, as they say, the flower, right, when she reaches the flower of her age, when she gets her first menstrual cycle. Okay, so hold on a second. What does it say here? That most girls were married around puberty, and then but there's more. Whereas men were somewhat older. So why would you try to uh uh um slander and insult and get at us and get at the elders and get at the apostles? This did they were only We're only bringing out the information. Okay, we are bringing out the information. Do you see us grabbing up? No, but that is we're telling you this was the way it was done. This is what's written in the scriptures you claim to believe in. How you call yourself a man of the Lord, but you get mad at other men of the Lord who are bringing out what the Bible actually says? Then you're not a man of the Lord. You're a man of emotions. Okay, that's what it says. Most girls were married around puberty, whereas men were somewhat older. So you'd have an older man and a young woman, a maid. It says, though unions were generally based more on economic. Now, back then it was normal. Now it's different because what is considered normal today was not normal then. You see, and what was considered normal then is not normal to people today. Though unions were generally based on more economic or social considerations than romantic ones. See, it says some texts, including the Song of Songs, show us that ideas of passion and sexual love were also present in ancient Israel. So today, dudes, marriages and that's all. That's based on she looks good or he looks good. He's cute. I want to get with him. Or she dance. She got a cake. You know what I'm saying? Every time she take a step, the earth jumps. So I want to see what's going on there. I'm gonna marry that. But in the ancient world, it wasn't. It was based on, like it says, economic or social considerations. So the father says, okay, you're gonna marry this man because you're building wealth in a sense. Okay, you look for a man that's good, well off, a man of wisdom, one that can benefit the whole family. That's who because okay, if I give my daughter to him, she's gonna be okay. And because in the case that he died, he would have something to pass on to her in the sense that she would be okay, because in Israel, widows that didn't have either family to take care of them or their nobody else to marry them or take them in, guess what? They suffered. Life was hard. See, but if your husband was well off and everything was set, he was a man that knew how to move. If something happened to him, you would be taken care of. Okay, so it was more than just what it is today. Is all about sex. Everything is over sexualized. Sex, 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 and that's why a lot of these relationships are. You got women killing their men, men killing their women. It's all out of course. It says, in order to marry a girl, a man would give her father a gift. It says called mohar in Hebrew, which a lot of they really just oftentimes they'll use like Yiddish terminology, so it won't be exactly accurate, But nevertheless, it says that would seal the betrothal between the bride and the husband to be. So there was like a payment in there, a dowry. It says betrothal was a much firmer commitment than today's engagement. Yeah, because you had sealed it with the dowry. It says, though some people think of if I go to the store and I give out $50 to buy I don't know, a phone case, or I buy something, right? After I've paid and you've given me that thing, the transaction has been made. I'm not gonna be in doubt whether it belongs to me or not. No, no, no. It's been confirmed. The transaction, when it says payment successful, that means that whatever it is, that exchange is now mine. Okay. It says, though some people think of the betrothal gift as a purchase price, this is inaccurate. Anthropologists call this gift bride wealth. It is but in essence, it was a purchase price. You would be purchasing the woman, in essence. That's why in the book of Sirach, it says, let me see, beginneth. See if I spelled that right. Yep. Ecclesiasticus 36:24. He that getteth a wife beginneth a possession. So what is a possession? Possession, definition. And it says here, a state of having, owning, or controlling something. An item of property, something belonging to one. Okay, a possession that you own. She's yours now. She's your woman. Right? It says a help like unto himself and a pillar of rest. All right. So it says it is found in many societies throughout the world, and is not considered a sale by people in those cultures. Israelite wives were not thought of as slaves in biblical text, though men sometimes did marry slave women. You may have a man that has a woman, a bondwoman, but then you may have another man that comes to be a bondman or servant for that man who owns the bondwoman, and he may like the bondwoman, so he may marry her and have kids, and then when the man who married the bondwoman, the bondman, when it's time for him to be free, he now can decide whether he wants to stay with the master, because if he was free and he had to leave, he had to leave he had to leave everything. So he would decide, if he says I love my master, then they would bore a hole in his ear, right, with an awl, to signify, okay, you are now bonded, you are now servitude to me, okay, continually, so that he may stay with his wife, right? So it says here, some length of time after the betrothal, wedding festivities, often involving days of feasting, would occur. The relationship between husbands and wives was not equal in the ancient Near East. So you see that? A region notable for its early ancient civilization, geographically encompassing modern Middle East, Egypt, and modern Turkey. So it wasn't just in Israel. This was the Near East. This was the Oriental, the Eastern way of doing things. All right? Men and women were not equal. That was commonly known. Today, you got all this feminism and stuff running around. That wasn't the case. It says, including Israel. Baal, one of the Hebrew words for husband, also meant Lord or master. And another word for that is Adawan. Okay? It says, and so it's not talking about the idol gods, which were the idol god referred to as Baal, which was basically them making an idol their Lord. Okay? But it's actually a word, a Hebrew word, as it says, for husband or Lord, master. Okay? But you can check on that. You can look that up in the scriptures as well and see what it says there. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It says, and men had life and death. It says, and men had life and death power over women in the case of adultery, which in ancient Israel involved. Now he's going to tell you what is he or she, because it's kind of like a she, right? But what is adultery? What does adultery mean? What was at adultery? It says here, involved a woman having sex outside of her marriage, meaning a woman having sex with a man that is not her husband, or a man having sex with another man's wife, This is the definition of adultery. Adultery is not a man sleeps with a woman that is not his wife. No. Adultery is if a man sleeps with a woman that already has another man. Okay? So if a man has a wife, but then he deals with another woman that is single, that's not adultery. But if a woman has a husband and she deals with any other man, that is adultery. That is it. That's point blank, period. Because men, the Lord, the way the Lord created the man and the woman, they're not equal. So the way they're dealt with in certain matters is different. Hey, you got a problem, take it up with the Most High, man. I know people are going to get emotional about this anyway. You know, you're going to have people watch this video and they're going to get emotional and they go, oh no, and I can't believe you would say such things. I've been watching you for such and such years and I never thought such things would come out of your mouth. I'm sorry. Am I not just reading what is written here and explaining certain points? No, you can't say that. Oh my gosh, you're such a bad man. It says, men though could have multiple wives and concubines were allowed to go to prostitute. Wait, hold up. Hold on a second. Are there going to be rebuke videos on this individual right here, Tracy M. Limos? Because I'm pretty sure when we said it, you had all these, no, well, you guys are saying this, you can't do that, that's off that. But this man or woman, it looks like a woman. So we're going to go with a woman. This lady right here, right? Associate professor at Huron University College at Western University. Is associate professor of Hebrew Bible and ancient Near East language and literature in the faculty of theology of Huron University College at Western University in London, Ontario. Ontario. Oh, she, right? So it is a woman. So hold on a second. She's a scholar, right? What this world will consider a scholar. But she says here, according to her studies, according to what is written, that what happened? Men were allowed to go to prostitutes. Oh, wow. It says thus monogamy was a one-way street in this culture. So she's telling you, according to the ancient Israelite way, this is how they did it. All right, monogamy. All right, monogamy meaning one-way street, meaning a woman could only deal with one man all her life. Could only have sex with one man all her life. But a man, that's why it's a one-way street. But a man could deal with many women as long as those women did not have other men or were not married or betrothed. It says biblical texts make clear that marriages between cousins were strongly preferred. Marriages with non-Israel, because then you could keep it within. Okay? Marriages with non-Israelites were treated differently by different texts. All right, and then it goes on, you know, so on and so forth, which the main part I wanted to get was what I read over here. Okay, so there you go. So you can see the things that we tell you, we're not just coming up saying things. No, this is what it is. It's what's written in the scriptures. All right, and so that's why when you read the Bible, the Bible's not for the weak-hearted, people who are emotional. All right, you got to deal with it as it is. So with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakha Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.